It's the 10th anniversary of the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at New Jersey. Our final round for 2024 at New Jersey Motorsports Park here in Millville. And welcome to race number 2 for Junior Cup, the final race of the final season for this class. After 7 seasons of racing, we're finally down to it. Welcome, everyone, to the broadcast. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, we already have a national champion. We know that yesterday we had a first-time this season winner, our 5th different winner of the season in Junior Cup. But it's time for us to take a look back in time, because this is the final race of Junior Cup as we give way to MotoAmerica Talent Cup next season.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride for 7 seasons. I can't believe it's been that long. It was good to see Avery Dreyer get that win as our defending champion going out here in New Jersey. But it's all started back in 2018. It actually started with Alex Dumas winning that first championship, and then we had Rocco Landers. The emergence of Rocco Landers in 2019 as he came onto the scene. I'll never forget that race at VIR when he missed the warm-up lap, started from last row on one.
That was unbelievable.
He repeated that feat again in 2020 to win the championship once again. So, and we still got Rocco in our championship here at MotoAmerica now. In 2021, it was Ty Scott, now in Supersport. So the progression has been really neat to follow these kids from this class. Of course, Cody Wyman comes along in 2022. He would get his first MotoAmerica championship. And then in 2023, of course, Avery Dreyer, last year's champion, comes through and is just going out this year.
And this guy, Matthew Chapin's your current champion, and he's looking to get his last win of this class in the last race of the season. We'll get that underway when we get back to New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Staying with you here live on MotoAmerica Live Plus. See all of the crews now clearing the grid for the warm-up lap. The sun is it looks like it's trying to break through a little bit, Roger, but that wind, you can see the flags continuing to blow in the background.
Yeah, and the wind is behind these riders, so going down into turn 1, even with the draft as well, they're going to be going in there a little bit quicker than maybe they're used to, so it's something that they're going to have to adjust to as this race goes on.
There is Avery Dreyer, our race winner from yesterday. See the number 58, there's Logan Cunnison. His name has certainly been in the conversation all season. He was able to win both of the races back at Barber Motorsports Park. But Matthew Chapin, they're on the number 95, just in control of this championship from the word go when the first race of the season back at Road Atlanta. He's been able to win 5 times since for a total of 7 podium finishes. It's only a 12-race championship, 6 different rounds, and he certainly dominated. Yeah, and you kind of allude to your point there, the consistency, the podiums, the wins, the top 5s as well. Just his racecraft has just been so impressive early on into the year, where sometimes he wasn't the fastest rider, but he was able to play his cards right and put himself in that right spot on that last lap, and then a couple races he broke the pack and checked out, which you don't see a lot in the Junior Cup class. Just saw come up over the hill, that number 1, followed by the number 22. That was Avery, leading sister Ella around for the final warm-up lap of the 2024 season. Last time we'll see these 400s out here, brand new class coming next year. So a lot on the line for all of the young riders here in MotoAmerica. For the call of the race, we're going to send it back to Greg White, Jason Pridmore, and Hannah Lopa.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Beautiful, picturesque New Jersey. New Jersey Motorsports Park here in Millville, as Junior Cup machines have made their way onto the racetrack for their warm-up lap in the final race of the season and of the class. And it's Eli Block, Avery Dreyer, and Jaden McKellar on the front row.
Then we have Ella Dreyer, Cunnison, and Batty there. Batty had a crash in warm-up, so hopefully they got that bike back together good for him. Carson King, Chapin, Fernandez, Medina, Woodworth, and Juliana Fernandez there, just outside row 4. Then we have Wolf, McKellar, Page, Betancourt, Mascaro, and Derek Sanchez. Jonathan James, Solly Mervis, Noah Tardif, Preston, Genderbellen, and Kesey, Trenton Kesey back there. And then Salem's going to round out there in row 9. He's got pace.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of pace.
Salem's got pace. He's He's a GP 190 champion and races over in Spain. So we'll see if he can make up some places. Race number 2, 13 laps scheduled. And away we go for Junior Cup, the final race of the season, the final race for the class. And it looks like the number 1, well, he had initial launch, but is it going to be Chapin? No,
Eli
it's
Block.
92. Yeah, it'll be Eli Block, your pole sitter, who goes to the lead. Oh, looks like Avery Dreyer pushed wide out onto the rumple strips, and his sister
goes through, yeah.
His sister's going to take over the 22 of Ella Dreyer on the Bad Boys Racing Machine. So good start from the Barkarm Racing Ninja 400 rider, Eli Block, looking to prove to everyone that he can pull off a W here at New Jersey Motorsports Park in the drive.
Yeah, and you see Chapin already coming from that 3rd row, already jumping himself into 4th. All these kids, Greg, they all want to go out as the last winner here in the Junior Cup class. So there's a lot of pride at stake as you see Avery now goes up the inside, and now he's looking at trying to roll around the outside of Eli Block. He's not quite able to get there, but the Dreyer's running 2nd and 3rd.
It's an overcast day, no sun shining, and so you'll see some of the riders with clear visors. A good opportunity for you to look to see where the riders are looking as they race. Back there in 4th place is your new national champion, Matthew Chapin, also on the Barkarm team. So we get a nice little pack on this first lap, all led by the 92, your pole sitter, Eli Block.
See McKellar there still running hard in 5th or 6th place now. Or 5th place, and then you got Batty just behind in 6th. And here you go, Greg, the drafting war starts. Ella's down the inside. She's going to try to lead them as they go off into turn 1. Let's see if Chapin's going to lead the way. So he gets a 3-rider draft coming out of that last corner, and Eli goes from 1st to 4th, and his teammate goes from 4th to 1st.
Yeah, you can see the stature of your now leader, the 95 of Chapin, a 1:33.437, the fastest lap from a standing start, and that puts him out front on a triple draft move into the first corner as the Bad Boy Racing teammates get after it yet again, the 22 and the 1. Eli Block sitting there in 3rd place, which gives us an opportunity to talk to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa.
For Eli Block, not only is this his first ever pole position in the class, it's also his first front row start in the class. He's got really good confidence here no matter the weather. It's the only track this season that he didn't have to learn. He's in a really good headspace. He wants to finish this season with a straight up 1-2 win with himself and his teammates, so we'll see how things unfold here.
Yeah, I've talked to Eli a few times, and that's been the thing. You know, Greg said earlier that Eli wants to prove that he can win in the drive. Both the Barkarm bikes now running 2nd and 3rd as Avery Dreyer made that pass, Greg, down in turn 7. And you saw yesterday that Chapin and Avery Dreyer both had some pace on the rest of the field. So with the 2 guys running 1st and 2nd now, it's going to be interesting to see if Eli and his sister, Ella Dreyer, can go with Avery's pace.
Keep an eye on the 71 of Levy Batty back there in 6th place, starting to make some move towards the front as well. Coming across the line, it was Avery Dreyer who gets it by the stripe as we go into turn number 1, but it's Chapin who goes fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.894, but Chapin will be relegated back to 3rd place as his teammate Block takes over 2nd spot. Ella Dreyer still in the mix, and it looks like Levy Batty now, Jay, is up to 5th place.
Yeah, he's rolling along, and we've seen him win this year. I think we saw him win at Brainerd, so this is the problem now, though. It's that little bit of a gap that Dreyer's starting to pull out over Eli Block. Eli's doing everything he can to try to run with him, and it's going to be interesting to see what his teammate does and see if Matthew Chapin responds to this, because he doesn't want to let Avery get too far out there.
Looks like the 22 of Ella Dreyer had a little bit more roll speed than Chapin heading into that corner. She had to check up for a moment. All eyes on the 71 of Batty. And back there too, Jay, I saw Carson King. He's not in the 32. He's in 6th place. I saw him really struggling for some rear grip a couple corners ago. So we'll keep an eye as this 2nd group, if they're able to muster a charge. But right now, it's all about the number 1 of Avery Dreyer. An emotional win yesterday, Jason, on the podium. Of course, the Dreyer, their father, passed away earlier this year. The first win for Avery in the class, able to pay homage to his father. He's on the side of his helmet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool yesterday that he was able to do that, but he's showing a lot of confidence and a lot of pace as Chapin now makes the pass on his teammate Eli Block. Let's see now what ends up happening. Ella Dreher goes up the inside as well. How about a 29.850 for your race leader? That's fastest lap of the race. I believe it's the fastest lap we've seen over the last 2 days in this class. I can't remember yesterday. I believe they just got down into the low 30s. Yep. So 29.8 for the leader. And I expect to see Chapin really respond on this lap. I'm sure we're going to see him drop himself into the 29s as well, as Eli looks to go back down the inside, not able to make that pass on the 22 of Ella Dreher. Batty there, but it's really right now, Greg, 5 riders kind of tied together with Avery doing everything he can to break them apart.
Ella Dreher back there in 3rd place has had an outstanding debut season. Hannah?
She really has, and early on in the weekend, she was a bit tentative in the mixed and wet conditions because she's still learning to navigate those conditions. Ella Dreher this is her best qualifying, well, she matched her best qualifying of the year. She also qualified 4th at Brainerd, where we saw her on the podium, and after being so close to the podium yesterday and with her brother winning, I know that she is really, really wanting to just improve one step further today.
Yeah, another podium would be great, as Ella Dreher really is a hot property when we talk about off-season prospects and the possibility of where this 14-year-old, the number 22, might end up next season. Of course, in order for you to advance in MotoAmerica, age is a requirement. So starting here in Junior Cup, and of course what will be our Talent Cup next season, as the 22 is going to use the draft and pass. Ella trying to make her way into 2nd place, can't get that one done, but Avery Dreher now lowering the fast lap of the race at a 129.850. But what I was mentioning is you can see that Ella Dreher's 14 years old, is that in order for you to get to the next level, which is Twins Cup, that's 15. In order to get to the next level, Super Sport, 16. Stock 1000, 17, and Superbike is 18. And the good news for Ella Dreher is her birthday is during the off season. So when she gets to the next season, she'll be 1 year older. So will she stay in the new Talent Cup class with the Spec Motorcycles Kramer, or will she advance toward to Twins Cup? Because from her age, that's the only 2 classes that she's going to be eligible to race in.
Yeah, and I think either one is going to be a viable option for her. She's obviously proven her worth here in this class. She's been up at the front a lot this year, and even right now, you can see she's right on the back of Matthew Chapin right now. Eli Block still there with them, so that's great for Eli as well. But the guy out front just keeps ripping off these 29s, and the kids behind just can't bridge that gap. Again, he's 0.2 quicker in the first split, and I mean, Greg, in the second split, 0.8 quicker in the second. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.2 slower. So they did catch him a little bit in the second split, and the third split's kind of, you know, about the same. So now the draft starts again, but Matthew's just a little bit too far back to catch the draft of Avery Dreher, as you see Eli Block trying to get the draft and pass on Ella as they go into turn 1. Yeah, and he's not going to be able to make that pass.
Now you can see that
Eli's just a little bit bigger, isn't he?
He is a little bigger, but also you can kind of see from the body language that Ella was going to break late. 129.933 for Chapin, his fastest lap of the race so far. A 129.926 for Eli Block. Ella Dreher, who now just set the Sector 1 fastest time of the race, did the 22 and chasing the number 1 plate down. So all of a sudden, that gap that Avery had is now all but evaporated to this point. Now it's anyone's game for these top 4.
Yeah, and they have pulled away, as you can see, quite away from Batty, who's back there in 5th place, and he's got a little gap behind him even for that battle for 6th. So the 4 at the front are going to try to settle this amongst themselves, and they have reeled back Avery Dreher. So I expect this lap, when they go down the front straightaway, Greg, that you're going to see probably Avery maybe get slid back to 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, because I think there'll be some drafting here.
7.5 laps to go in Junior Cup race number 2. Avery Dreher coming under fire from Chapin, his sister Ella Dreher, and Eli Block.
And Eli right now is on a personal best lap. He's gone red sector, as you said. Ella had that red sector in Sector 1, and then Eli's had it in Sector 2. So here you go. This is the draft in the past that I was expecting to see when they came onto this front straightaway.
7 laps to go on the front straightaway into turn number 1, and from 3rd place, the 22 of Ella Dreher takes over the lead. Oh, but up the inside goes the 95, your national champ, Matthew Chapin, so he'll take over that spot. Ella Dreher still in 2nd place around her brother Avery, the number 1, and of course Eli Block still there as well. The talking points, Jason, this weekend have been, with these Junior Cups specifically, the wear of tires. This is new asphalt here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, and in most classes it's been brilliant, but some tires have been going off late in the races. Here we go, the pass for the lead. Ella Dreyer, just a nice move. Your standard draft and pass, but you can see a little bit of a bobble right there at the apex, and Dreyer had to check up. That opened up the door. Avery had to check up himself right behind his sister, but the number one goes by on the outside and takes over the spot.
You know, this is a lot of what we saw last year from Avery, isn't it, Greg? We saw him just kind of dominate. Look at Ella. She goes around the outside of Chapin on her way up into turn 9, so the Dreyers find themselves 1-2 again, doing it a little unorthodox. Obviously, you're going to pass wherever you can, but to just roll around the outside of people is pretty impressive by both the Dreyers here.
Now, Ella Dreyer just at the fastest lap of the race at a 1:29.371. That's only less than a tenth of a second off the track record set by Tyler Scott back in 2021. That draft plays a huge role here in Junior Cup. Another lap in the books, now 6 to go. The 95 takes over, the number 1 in second, the 22 in third. All the while, Eli Block is right there, maybe being conservative, letting these three rough themselves up and planning on making a move later. So, about 5.5 laps to go in race number 2 for Junior Cup. On top, your new national champion, Matthew Chapin, leads a pack as the laps wind down. Now a pass for the lead is the number 1 Avery Dreyer going up the inside, will take the spot. Oh, and a little bit sideways. Everybody looking for some room, and it looked like for a moment that maybe the 22 was going to get there, but here comes Eli Block. Wow. Opportunity knocked, and he grabbed it.
Well, you saw those guys kind of get themselves slowed down on the exit of the corner, but Eli Block was able to keep his bike pinned and roll, and he was able to turn that into a pass going down into turn 6. So Eli Block wants a shot at leading this race, Greg, and there it is. He's up front again, and you know, this is great. We got 2 teammates with Ella and her brother Avery, and we got 2 teammates on the Barcon bikes there with Eli and Matthew. So Eli Block did a really good job. He just kept his rolling momentum up and was able to stuff it down the inside of everybody going down into 6. But now he's kind of the sitting duck, isn't he, as he comes onto this front straightaway.
Dreyer with a good drive on the outside, gets a good roll speed, doesn't even need the draft and pass, goes to the lead for the moment, comes across the line as the leader. But the 95 of Chapin, who gets so well tucked behind that bubble of that Kawasaki Ninja 400, will utilize that technique, get himself back up to the lead. What a race. Up the inside goes the number 1. He's been doing that all race long.
Yes,
he's got that
has.
whole section, 3A, B, C, all dialed in.
Yeah, what a race we have here between these 4. There's no patience, is there, Greg? It's just they're just stuffing each other up every chance they get. And Avery, he just seems like he's got a little bit of pace in certain spots. As you can see, he's getting that gap again, just pulling away ever so slightly as they exit turn 5, get that roll down to turn 6. You see him move over to the right a little bit and kind of protect himself going down into this turn. And again, Greg, he's got pulled out 0.3 of a second right now on Chapin.
This looks like the Avery Dreyer we saw last year,
yes,
Jay.
Yes.
Doesn't it? I mean, just the body language, the confidence. Looks like Solly Mervis.
Yep.
Solly Mervis looks like down and out of 12th place. So the Indiana native is out of this one after a good run yesterday from 20th to 11th. The 20-year-old is done. He'll get another chance at it next year. Back up front we go. Avery Dreyer, Matthew Chapin, the 95, 92 Eli Block, 22 Ella Dreyer, starting to lose touch ever so slightly. Dreyer, Ella is going to need this draft to get back up to this group, and it looks like the big hole in the air of these 3, and Ella Dreyer right back on the tail section of the top 3.
Yeah, now you start thinking about a little bit of tire life, and that comes back down into the setup. Who's got the best setup? Because whoever's got the best setup is going to be a little easier on their tires. And, you know, yesterday I talked to a couple of the kids after the race, and they said, man, my tires were a little bit smoked with 3 or 4 to go. But we didn't see that from the leaders, because Chapin and Avery Dreyer, they just kept going that same pace. And so you kind of wonder, with Ella just falling back ever so slightly here and there, if maybe she's starting to feel some of that.
Three and a half laps to go in Junior Cup race number 2. and it's Avery Dreyer leading the way. In the mix is Chapin Block and Ella Dreyer. The 95 is Chapin. He is your new national champion, as Avery Dreyer not able to defend. But we are watching the Avery Dreyer of old, meaning last year, and we're looking at the emergence of a young talent in Ella Dreyer, already standing on the podium 2 times this season with 2 third-place finishes. It would be awesome on the last race of the season if she could better that with a second or a first. You have Eli Block, who did the double here last year, who wants to prove to everybody that he can win races in the dry. And then you have this legend, Matthew Chapin, who has only been off the podium, Jason, 3 times all season.
Yeah, and for Matthew, yesterday he was able to kind of play the sitting and wait game because he had nobody behind him, and today it's not the case. So you see him doing a trial run there. I think my biggest fear for Avery is him just leading out of the last corner. I feel like he's going to get drafted fairly easy, as you see Ella trying to roll around the outside of Eli Block down there into turn 3. Doesn't quite get that done, but you know, for Avery, he's shown some speed. I just don't know if he can lead coming out of that last corner, as he's going to have a look at Chapin as they go into that ultra-fast turn 4. He makes that pass stick once again, and he's got pace all through the infield, but he can't get quite enough away from the riders behind him.
I think the danger rider could be Ella Dreyer, Jay, because what we've seen from Ella Dreyer is her speed through 7, 8, 9, 10, and if she could find her way to the front with 2.5 laps to go and lead going into that section, there's the possibility that she could have enough of a gap that she could hold off the advances of these 3. But it feels like right now, if it's going to be this tight in 2.5 laps from now, that whoever's in probably second or third might pull this one off. There's your gap. Back to Levy Batty, who had a good charge early on, did the 71, but then it stalled out. And Levy Batty is just sitting there on the Carnes Performance Racing Ninja 400 going, man, if I could just close this gap. But it's just been a couple tenths here and a couple tenths there. And without the help of the draft, you lose touch with this group.
Well, the one thing I'm going to say to you right there is Avery Dreyer just led out of the last corner, and it didn't look like they had anything for him before they got to the start-finish line. Now, you know, I don't know if Chapin's holding his cards close to his chest there or not. As you see Avery look back, because I think he was probably expecting to see
he's going
a gap.
Where'd everybody go?
Yeah, he was probably expecting to see a bit of a gap there that isn't there. They're still on top of you, Avery, so you got to keep the pedal down here. And really impressed by Eli Block today. I mean, this is a race where we're seeing him battle with riders up at the front that have been there all year, and home race or not, he has found some pace overnight, and you know, 92 is sitting right there, and he looks back over his shoulder, sees Ella, and these 4 now probably all know that there's nobody behind them.
Yeah, and with these type of motorcycles in Junior Cup, with the horsepower and the rolling speed required, the only great places to pass are going to be on some transitions that we've seen Avery Dreyer be able to roll up with roll speed, but also on brakes. So now Eli Block looking for a way somewhere. You can see Avery Dreyer is extremely wide. He made a big mistake there.
Was it a mistake, or was he just seeing maybe let somebody else lead? You know, that's the biggest thing right now. You know, we don't see Avery make too many mistakes. I mean, we've seen some this year from him, but not this weekend. He's been spot on all weekend. So maybe he was just doing a little trial run there to see if somebody goes by him, if he's able to draft. And here we go. Chapin right now would be leading at the line on this lap.
Jason, your speculation about Avery's pretty interesting, that maybe he wanted somebody else to lead on this final lap to draft to the line, because it's a strategy that he discussed with me about potentially using yesterday.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, this feels like for this class, this would be more like a Daytona strategy. But the 2 Barkon bikes are leading currently, and the 2 Bad Boy Racing bikes in 3rd and 4th. So now it's like, okay, who's done the right thing at this point? We know that Chapin, who's leading, is the smallest in stature of the riders in this group, and that will give him a little bit of an advantage if he can gap these other riders by 3 or 4 bike lengths coming onto the straightaway, because we don't know if the rehearsal run for the number 1 who runs off the racetrack able to save it, if everybody kind of gave what they had in the tank.
Avery felt to me there like he wants to be second coming out of the last corner, I think, and he didn't want to give Chapin the opportunity to maybe pull away in this little section. Eli's going just as quick as anybody, so even if he'd have sat there in 3rd, he would have been okay. I'll tell you right now, though, Ella's looking pretty solid in that 4th place spot. She's going to get a draft from 3 people that are right in front of her, so we're going to be able to see if Matthew Chapin can clean these S's as good as he can. You see a couple of back markers up in front that I don't think will play into this. Let's see, is Eli going to go up underneath Avery here?
All right, so there goes Eli Block. Chapin's got a good gap onto the front straightaway. Here we go to the line, the final race of the class, and it's going to be Chapin who takes the victory over Ella Dreyer in second place, ahead of Avery Dreyer and Eli Block. So Matthew Chapin with a big win to really put a stamp on his national championship.
Wow.
And another look at this. What a run he had through the final corner, and you can see Ella Dreyer right there in the tuck as they went that close for second place.
And Eli Block is right in there between them, Greg. So you're going to have Chapin up on the podium there winning, going out in style, and then you're going to have both Ella and her brother on the podium for the final race in Junior Cup.
Well played by Ella Dreyer. Great timing, but more importantly,
good shout out for Eli too. He rode well.
Yeah, Eli Block right there. 8 thousandths of a second is the difference between third and fourth for Avery Dreyer and Eli Block. But what a ride, what a smart ride. Great race IQ from Matthew Chapin. 0.2 of a second as now riders stop in the final race of the season. There's your race pace. Fast lap for Chapin was on lap number 6, 29.6. Fastest lap of this race is going to be credited with Ella Dreyer, a 1:29.371. So the 14-year-old Dreyer, who is able to grab second place as the riders show appreciation for the fans that came to NJMP. We'll be back to talk to the top three after this.
What an exclamation point to put on this championship season here in the Junior Cup category. Roger, that ride from Ella Dreyer.
Great ride. You know, she was up there early on yesterday, and today she was able. Look at the smile on her helmet. You can see what this means to her, and it's just really cool to. I love this shot right here where you can just see the smile on her face. But she did such a great job, and it's great to see her get on the podium. We've talked a lot about losing their father this year, and to continue to go out there and be able to do what they've been doing, and both of them able to get on the podium is kind of a fitting end of the year for them. And you can just see all the people in the paddock, what they think about Ella and Avery coming out on the track right there, the pit lane, and give them a hug or a high five. Everybody's been pulling for them all year, and she did great. It wasn't handed to her either. She went out there and she earned that second place today, and almost her first win.
Paddock is such an incredible community of people who all came together to ensure that both Ella and her brother Avery were going to be able to finish out this championship season after all of the heartbreak that they went through mid-season. Huge smile. She's going to remember this day and this weekend for many, many years to come. We also saw a shot of Matthew Chapin there, our champion, able to go out with the win.
Just kind of proved the point, what he's did all year. He was able to pull away that last lap and able to come in there and get the win like that. His racecraft is just so incredible for such a young rider. He was really patient. The last couple laps, it just kind of looked like he was just hanging on. He'd fall back a little bit, then he would close the gap. And then the last lap, he puts himself in the front, drops the hammer, pulls out a little bit of a gap, let those guys behind him kind of fight back and forth to try to get in that spot. It seemed like they were really trying to get behind him to be able to get in that draft up the front straightaway, and he just had his head down and was able to pull away and just get another win.
Tricky conditions in qualifying, and for Matthew Chapin, he was stuck back there on the third row, but he came in motivated today and able to turn it into another victory, 7th one of the season, 8 podiums in total here in this championship. For Avery Dreyer, able to have another sibling podium result here, the two of them up on the box together. You think about how many times in motorsports that this actually happens, that siblings are able to ride at the top level of the same category or race at the top level of the same category. We just don't get to see it very often. You know, you have the Schumachers, Ralph and Michael over in Formula One, the Coughlin's in NHRA competition, but over here it's all about the Dreyers.
Yeah, and they've had such a great year this year for Avery and Ella, even with the ups and downs, how they've been able to handle it for such young kids. You know, I couldn't imagine going through that and then continuing to race. So credit to them, and also credit to all the people that stepped up and helped them continue to chase their dreams and let them keep going and finish out the year.
Big smiles from everybody down there. You can just see the amount of relief. The season is over. These young riders all year, they've had so much pressure on themselves just to go out and perform and to learn and to put on a show. These are big weekends. I mean, you think that these, like Ella, for example, 14 years old, Matthew Chapin, 16 years old. These are riders that want to make a career here. They want to be here for the long haul, and they're able to come out and race on weekends with factory-supported teams all the way up into Superbike.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of pressure for young kids, and I mean, honestly, it makes you grow up really quick because you're coming out here at 14 years old and you're working for your career right away. You know, most times, you know, that doesn't happen until later on in life, but you're 14 and you're juggling life and trying to figure things out, but you also got this career that you're trying to pursue as well.
It's a hard-earned podium position today for Ella Dreyer. Big congratulations to her, as well as Matthew Chapin, able to take home that race win, and of course Avery Dreyer. We will hear from these top three once everyone is in position and set and ready for Junior Cup. We still have racing to go later on this afternoon. But before we get to anything else, let's go ahead and send it back over to Greg White, Jason Pridmore, and Hannah Lopa.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, so final results for our final race of this Junior Cup Championship. Chapin with a 0.2 of a second margin of victory. Ella Dreyer, Avery Dreyer, and let's get right down to Hannah.
Matthew Chapin, your 2024 champion, finishing the season on the top of the box, the last ever Junior Cup win. How's your race?
Oh, man, that race was really fun. I had a really fun battling with Eli, Avery, and Ella. They were all ripping. It was overall a great race. You know, none of us really made any mistakes. It was really hard to close the gap to Avery at first. He was fast right out of the start. I just want to give a huge thanks to Colin and Mike for everything they've done for me this season. My mom and dad and all my family and friends for coming out. Bud Lubricants, KYT, Bison, thank you guys.
Big congratulations to Matthew Chapin. Moving right along, second place today, Ella Dreyer. Incredible performance by you all race long. You led some laps. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this race was amazing. Like, I couldn't even think of what was going on. Of course I was thinking of what was going on, but this was incredible, and I want to thank my Uncle John and Dale Quarterly for getting me to this point. This is amazing, and it's a good way to end off the season, and I want to thank Rangeline Tapping Services, NV Racing Apparel, and yeah, I know I'm missing some, but this was amazing. This was for you, Dad. I love you.
Big congratulations to Ella Dreyer, and third spot on the podium, her brother Avery. It came down to the line there with you and your sister. How are you feeling about her finishing a step higher than you today?
Yeah, I don't know, mixed emotions, I'll say that, but man, that race was crazy. I felt like I could break away with it the first few laps. I was putting down a few 29s on my dash, so I just kept pushing and pushing. You know, I didn't make any mistakes really, but you know, I thought I ran away with it, but they closed the gap to me, and I was like, man, I guess they were closer than I thought, so I just tried to play it smart those last few laps, and yeah, you know, unfortunately just didn't play it right. My bike popped out of gear last corner, but no excuses. I'm happy to be on the podium with my sister. Everyone rode a great race, and this is an awesome way to end off the year, and big thanks to John, Dale, Darwin, Brady, everyone else who came here to support me.
Thank you, Avery Dreyer, rounding out your Junior Cup podium, guys.
Well, there it is. What a race we had, and here's a look at our final championship standings. Thanks so much for joining us for the season. We appreciate it. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. We can't wait to see what's in store for next year. Take care.